Shalom and blessings, warriors of Yahuah and the truth. Today we are going to be continuing on with 3rd Enoch. We are on 3rd Enoch 44. Metatron shows our Ishmael the abode of the wicked. Bella, what are you doing? Sorry, Bella was chewing at the towel in front of our door. Okay. So I was just saying that we'll be talking about the abode of the wicked today, and the intermediate in Sheol, or hell. VSS 1 through 6, it says, in parentheses. The patriarchs pray for the deliverance of Yasharal, verses 7 through 10. Our Ishmael said, Metatron X, the angel, the prince of the present, said to me, Come, and I will show thee the spirits of the wicked and the spirits of the intermediate where they are standing, and the spirits of the intermediate whither they go down, and the spirits of the wicked where they go down. And he said to me, The spirits of the wicked go down to Sheol by the hands of 2 angels. Destruction, Zaphael, and Simchael are their names. Simchael is appointed over the intermediate to support them and purify them because of the great mercy of the prince of the place, Makom. Zaphael is appointed over the spirits of the wicked in order to cast them down from the presence of the Kodesh One, blessed be he, and from the splendor of the Shekinah to Sheol, to be punished in the fire of Gehenna with staves of burning coal. And I went by his side, and he took me by his hand, and showed me all of them with his fingers. And I beheld the appearance of their faces, and lo, it was as the appearance of children of men, and their bodies like eagles, and not only that, but furthermore, the color of the countenance of the intermediate was like pale gray, on account of their deeds. For there are stains upon them until they have become clean from their iniquity in the fire. And the color of the wicked was like the bottom of a pot on account of the wickedness of their doings. And I saw the spirits of the patriarchs, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and the rest of the righteous, whom they brought up out of their graves, and who have ascended to heaven, Rakir. Like Rakia, it looks like, but it's Rakir. And they were praying before the Kodesh One, blessed be he, saying in their prayer, Adonai of the universe, how long wilt thou sit upon thy throne like a mourner in the days of his mourning, with thy right hand before thee, and not deliver thy children, and reveal the kingdom in the world? And for how long wilt thou have no pity upon thy children who are made slaves among the nations of the world? Nor upon thy right hand that is behind thee, wherewith thou didst stretch out the heavens and the earth and the heavens of heavens. When wilt thou have compassion? Then the Kodesh One, blessed be he, answered every one of them, saying, Since these wicked do sin so, and transgress with such and such transgressions against me, how could I deliver my great right hand in the downfall by their hands caused by them? In that moment Metatron called me and spake to me, My servant, take the books and read their evil doings. Forthwith I took the books and read their doings, and there were to be found 36 transgressions written down with regard to each wicked one, and besides that they have transgressed all the letters of the Torah, as it is written, Daniel IXU, I don't know. Yea, all Yasharal have transgressed thy law. It is not written all Torahteca, but et Jin Torahteca, for they have transgressed from Aleph to Tau, beginning to end. 40 statutes have they transgressed for each letter. For with Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov wept. Then said to the Kodesh One, blessed be he, Abraham, my beloved, Yitzchak, my elect one, Yaakov, my firstborn. How can I now deliver them from among the nations of the world? For with Michael, the prince of Yasharal, cried and wept with a loud voice and said, Psalm 10:1. Why standest thou afar off, O Adonai? Chapter 45. Metatron shows our Ishmael past and future events, recorded on the curtain of the throne. Our Ishmael said, Metatron said to me, Come and I will show thee the curtain of Makom, the divine majesty, which is spread before the Kodesh one, blessed be he, and whereon are graven all the generations of the world and all their doings, both what they have done and what they will do until the end of all generations. And I went and showed it to, and he showed it to me, pointing it out with his fingers. Mike, a father who teaches his children the letters of Torah, and I saw each generation, the rulers of each generation, and the heads of each generation, the shepherds of each generation, the oppressors, drivers of each generation, the keepers of each generation, the scourgers of each generation, the overseers of each generation, the judges of each generation, the court officers of each generation, the teachers of each generation, the supporters of each generation, the chiefs of each generation, the presidents of academies of each generation, the magistrates of each generation, the princes of each generation, the counselors of each generation, the nobles of each generation, the men of might of each generation, the elders of each generation, and the guides of each generation. And I saw Adam, his generation, their doings and their thoughts. Noah and his generation, their doings and their thoughts. And the generation of the flood, their doings and their thoughts. Shem and his generation, their doings and their thoughts. Nimrod and the generation of the confusion of tongues, and his generation, their doings and their thoughts. Abraham and his generation, their doings and their thoughts. Yitzchak and his generation, their doings and their thoughts. Ishmael and his generation, their doings and their thoughts. Yaakov and his generation, their doings and their thoughts. Yosef and his generation, their doings and their thoughts. The tribes and their generations, their doings and their thoughts. Abram and his generation, their doings and their thoughts. Moshe and his generation, their doings and their thoughts. Bella, just get down. Just don't chew on anything. Here. Aaron and Miriam, their works and their doings. The princes and the elders, their works and doings. Joshua and his generation, their works and doings. The judges and their generation, their works and doings. Eli and his generation, their works and doings. Phinehas, their works and doings. Elkanah and his generation, their works and doings. Samuel, since you know what the word is, I'll just read them off. The names. Yehuda, Yasharal, and then it says their works and their doings. The princes of the nations of the world, their works and their doings during the time of Yasharal. The heads of the councils in the nations of the world, their generations, their works and their doings. The rulers of Yasharal and their generations and their works and their doings. The nobles of Yasharal, the works and their doings in the nations of the world during their generations, their works and their doings. The men of reputation in Yasharal, the judges of Yasharal, the judges of the nations of the world and their generations. The teachers of the children in Yasharal, their generations. The teachers of children in the nations of the world, their generations, their works and their doings. The counselors, interpreters of Yasharal, the counselors, interpreters of the nations of the world. All the prophets of Yasharal, and their works and their doings. And then all the fights and wars of the nations, 16 of the world, wrought against the people of Yasharal in the time of their kingdom. And I saw Mashiach, son of Yosef, and his generation, and their works and their doings, and that they will do against the nations of the world. And that they will do against the nations of the world. And I saw Messiah, son of Dawid, and his generation, and all the fights and wars and their works and their doings that they will do with Yasharal, both for good and evil. And I saw all the fights and wars that Gog and Magog will fight in the days of Mashiach, and all that the Kodesh One, blessed be He, will do with them in the time to come. And all the rest of all the leaders of the generations and all the works of the generations, both in Yasharal and in the nations of the world, both what is done and what will be done hereafter to all generations until the end of time. All were graven on the curtain of Makom. And I saw all these things with my eyes, and after I had seen it, I opened my mouth in praise of Makom, the divine majesty, saying thus, Ecclesiastes VIII 4 and 5. For the king's word hath power, and who may say unto him, What doest thou? Whoso keepeth the commandments shall know no evil thing. And I said, Psalm CIV 24, O Adonai, how manifold are thy works. Let's see, 46. The place of the stars shown to our Ishmael. Our Ishmael said, Metatron said to me, Come and I will show thee the space of the stars, and that are standing in Rakia, night by night, Lila by Lila, in fear of the Almighty, Makom, and I will show thee where they go and where they stand. I walked by his side, and he took me by my hand, he took me by his hand, and pointed out all to me with his fingers. And they were standing on sparks of flames round the Merkaba of the Almighty Makom. What did Metatron do? At that moment he clapped his hands and chased them off from their place. Forthwith they flew off on flaming wings, rose and fled from the four sides of the throne of the Merkaba. And as they flew, he told me the names of every single one, as it is written, Psalm CXLVII 4. He telleth the number of the stars, he giveth them all their names, teaching that the Kodesh One, blessed be He, has given a name to each one of them. And they all enter in counted order under the guidance of, literally through the hands of, Rahatiel to Rakia, Shushamayim, to serve the world. And they go out in counted order to praise the Kodesh One, blessed be He, with songs and hymns, according as it is written. Psalm XIX.I. So that's something 1. Sorry. I don't like Roman numerals. The heavens declare the glory of Yahuah. But in the time to come, the Kodesh One, blessed be He, will create them anew, as it is written, Lamentations 3:23. They are new every morning, and they open their mouths and utter a song. Which is the song that they utter? Psalm VIII 3. So it might be Psalm 8:3. When I consider thy heavens. Bella? Oh no. Hold on. I'll be right back. We might finish this today. It looks like we're almost done. 1 second. Okay, we are on 47? I thought we already read 47. Okay. Metatron shows our Ishmael the spirits of the punished angels. Our Ishmael said, Metatron said to me, Come, and I will show thee the souls of the angels and the spirits of the ministering servants whose bodies have been burnt in the fire of Mekom, the Almighty, that goes forth from his little finger. And they have been made into fiery coals in the midst of the fiery river, Nahar di Nur. But their spirits and their souls are standing behind the Shekinah. Whenever the ministering angels utter a song at a wrong time, or as not appointed to be sung, they are burnt and consumed by the fire of their Creator and by a flame from their Maker in the places or chambers of the whirlwind. For it blows upon them and drives them into the Nahar Dinur, and they are made into numerous mountains of burning coal. But their spirit and their soul return to their Creator, and all are standing behind their Master. And I went by his side, and he took me by his hand, and he showed me all the souls of the angels and the spirits of the ministering servants, who were standing behind the Shekinah upon wings of the whirlwind, and walls of fire surrounding them. At that moment Metatron opened to me the gates of the walls within which they were standing, behind the Shekinah, and I lifted up my eyes and saw them. And behold, the likeness of every one was as that of angels, and their wings like birds' wings, made out of flames, the work of burning fire. In that moment I opened my mouth in praise of Makom, and said, Psalm XCII 5. How great are thy works, O Adonai. Chapter 48. Metatron shows Ar Ishmael the right hand of the Most High, now inactive behind him, but in the future destined to work the deliverance of Yasharal. Ar Ishmael said, Metatron said to me, Come, and I will show thee the right hand of Makom, laid behind him, because of the destruction of the Kodesh temple, from which all kinds of splendor and light shine forth, and by which the 955 heavens, or Shamayim, were created, and whom not even the seraphim and the Ophanim are permitted to behold until the day of salvation shall arrive. And I went by his side, and he took me by his hand, and showed me the right hand of Makom, with all manner of praise, rejoicing and song. No mouth can tell its praise, and no eye can behold it, because of its greatness, dignity, majesty, glory, and beauty. And not only that, but all the souls of the righteous, who are counted worthy to behold the joy of Jerusalem, they are standing by it, praising and praying before it 3 times every day, saying, and you can find this in Isaiah Li 9, Awake, awake, put on the strength arm of the Adonai. Awake, awake, put on the strength arm of the Adonai. According as it is written, Isaiah III 12. He caused his glorious arm to go at the right hand of Moshe. In that moment the right hand of Makom was weeping, and there went forth from its 5 fingers 5 rivers of tears, and fell down into the great sea, and shook the whole world, according as it is written, Isaiah XXIV, so that's 20-something, 19 and 20. Verse 20-something, 19 and 20. The earth is utterly broken, the earth is clean, dissolved, the earth is moved exceedingly, the earth shall stagger like a drunken man, and shall be moved to and fro like a hut, 5 times corresponding to the fingers of his great right hand. But when the Kodesh one, blessed be he, sees that there is no righteous man in the generation, and no pious man, Kasid, on earth, and no justice in the hands of men, and that there is no man like unto Moshe, and no intercessor as Samuel, who could pray before Makom for the salvation and for the deliverance and for his kingdom, that it might be revealed in the whole world, and for his great right hand, that he put it before himself again to work great salvation for it, for Yasharal. Then forthwith the Kodesh one, blessed be he, remember his own justice, favor, mercy, and grace, and he will deliver his great arm by himself, and his righteousness will support him, according as it is written, Isaiah LIX, it's something 10, or I don't know what the L stands for in Roman numerals, 16. It's verse 16, I don't know what chapter. And he saw that there was no man, that is, like unto Moshe, who prayed countless times for Yasharal in the desert, and averted the divine decrees from them, and he wondered that there was no intercessor like unto Samuel, who entreated the Kodesh One, blessed be he, and called unto him, and he answered him, and fulfilled his desire, even if it was not fit in accordance with the divine plan, according as it is written, 1 Samuel XII 17. I think that's 12:17. 1 Samuel 12:17. Is it not wheat harvest today? I will call unto the Adonai. And not only that, but he joined fellowship with Moshe in every place, as it is written. Psalm XC, which I don't know what C is, XCIX 6. Moshe and Aharon among his priests, and again it is written, Jeremiah, I think it's 15:1. Though Moshe and Samuel stood before me. Isaiah III 5. Mine own arm brought salvation unto me, said the Kodesh One, blessed be he. In that hour, how long shall I wait for the children of men to work salvation, according to their righteousness for my arm? And my own sake, and for the sake of my merit and righteousness, will I deliver my arm, and by it redeem my children from among the nations of the world. As it is written, Isaiah XLVIII.N. I don't know what that means. For my own sake will I do it, for how should my name be profaned? And in that moment will the Kodesh One, blessed be he, reveal his great arm and show it to the nations of the world. For its length is as the length of the world, and its breadth is as the width of the world. Bella! 1 second, sorry.